What else do you do down here on the Key Peninsula?
Well,
What other things
some
make
years
you
ago,
give a damn?
they formed a thing, they were forming a thing called Communities in Schools. It started in Vaughan Elementary. Jeff Harris took over for a couple of years and started to make it move. And then we got our current director, Colleen Spear. And Colleen is just dynamite. She has organized us tremendously. We are now in 9 of the 15 schools in this district. Initially, we were there to teach or to help, to mentor kids who are having trouble reading or with math. And it started out just elementary, first, second, third grade. Now we're in the high schools as well.
Oh, you are?
Where kids are needing help. And we're doing a great job. CIS, Communities in Schools, at the national level, is the most successful program for keeping kids in school. I was shocked to learn that when a kid is in the second grade, he or she has made up his or her mind, I'm not graduating.
Oh, is that right? It
Yeah,
goes back that
that's
far.
frightening. Well, we step in and say, not only are you going to graduate, you're going to graduate on time. And we hope you'll graduate with honors. Let us help you. And we do. And it's making a tremendous difference. We initially started out just mentoring on reading and math. And then we found out that a lot of these kids are not getting enough food. So we started to provide food after their classes. We start mentoring at 4 o'clock. And so we'd put some food in their tummy so their brain is functioning. And then we added books and added something else, helping kids who are homeless. We just do all kinds of things that I wasn't even aware of.
Really?
And I've been with it since it began.
Wow.
And I'm on the board. So you'd think I know everything. I know nothing. We have a fabulous staff and something like 200 volunteers in 9 different schools, saving kids who are going to fall through the crack. Yeah, that's a wonderful program. Another one spun out of, this is about, I'm guessing, this machine doesn't work the way it used to. Roughly 20 years ago, sponsored mainly by the then Gateway, which was not
The paper.
yeah, the Peninsula Gateway newspaper, which was independent. Okay, now it's a McClaskey paper.
Oh, it is. I didn't know that.
Yeah, McClaskey bought it and Knight Ridder and all kinds of stuff. They overspent themselves. But don't put that on.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, and it was the Gateway under George Lemoussurier, who was our publisher and editor, who created Students of Distinction, which is a fabulous program. And out of, where was I going with this? I got lost.
Well, this is another organization that you were part of, that you cared about, that
yeah.
the Students of Distinction.
Oh, yeah. Out of, the Gateway sponsored a program with several other sponsors, which embraced the entire school district and was held in different school buildings and different restaurants, et cetera, and culminated in formalizing, let us create a school foundation. And we created the Peninsula Schools Education Foundation.
That's that thing I went to.
Yeah, exactly. It's, it started off with just, what are we going to do? And now we're doing a lot. The genesis of the thing was, why should teachers have to reach into their low-paid pocket to buy stuff for their kids that they know they need?
Right.
So all of our funds go directly to getting stuff for the teachers for their kids. And we have, every year we have 2 fundraisers now. We used to have only one. We used to have only the breakfast. And we raised a pretty good amount of money. 25% of whatever we get goes into our endowment fund. And when that reaches a certain point, we're going to start siphoning off of that. As a matter of fact, we are now siphoning off of that but all the money that we get from the public goes back to the public, to the schools. And we're saving kids. One of our mentors, Laura Unger, who is one of our coordinators, they get paid, small salary, at Harbor Heights Elementary, created a program that was so successful that she was picked up by the national.
Oh, sorry.
Did you see the story?
No, I didn't know.
Okay, there's a story, fantastic. This woman won the national, I would call it a championship, it's not, for being capable and delivering to our kids a program that makes a huge difference.
An inspiration, inspiring kids, right?
Yeah, and that's not the foundation. That's communities and schools, and we're doing a job, doing a good job.
Huh.
How I got involved in all these things, I don't know. All I know is that that's what keeps me alive. I swear to God, I'm rarely anything but up. But every now and then, like everybody else, I'll have a downer. All I have to do is walk into a school building and watch the kids come by, and I'm in orbit. Just seeing them gives me a huge burst of energy and faith. Yeah.
Huh.
Most people my age are not breathing, you know that. I don't.
I'm not young either, but I look at the obituary sometimes, and it's 50 and 60-year-old people. I go,
Yeah.
tomorrow's promised to no one. Thank God, you know.
Yeah. I don't have time to die. I'm too busy.
So, other things on the keeping insulin? Because I know one thing that you haven't mentioned.
What's that?
Well, remember we said we weren't going to talk about politics.
Yeah.
However, I believe you are active in the Democrats. Is that correct?
Both. Mainly Democratic. Yeah, I'm a progressive. I believe in taking care of the people.
And you've also
But I have voted for and supported the Republicans. Stan Fleming, for example, for Pierce County Council. Terry Lee for Pierce County Council. These are good people. And that's where, to me, party goes away. If you can deliver and will deliver, then I will support you. But 9 out of 10 people that I support are Democrats, because I particularly do not care for what's going on in Washington right now.
right,
The other Washington.
right.
Yeah.
Now, but also, it seems like all the times I've gone to your house for different functions, it seems like you've been able to introduce different candidates that are up and coming or thinking about running. Almost as if you are giving them that initial step forward.
But we want to encourage people to support candidates that we know are going to deliver for our community. That's the name of the game. If you're interested in yourself, that's fine. If you're interested in the community, that's wonderful. And that's where we put our support, both Janice and me. And always have.
So I was going way back to the start of our interviews. You said at one time that you wanted to go into intelligence as an unique way to being a
into
congressman.
Congress. Yes.
So where did that stop?
That stopped when I became enamored of the intelligence business. Among other things, I had the blessing of Scoop Jackson, who was endorsing me. That was a whole different game plan. And that's before Norm Dix took the seat. And when Norm Dix, you don't run against your party.
No, and he kept it forever.
Yeah. And the current congressman, Derek Kilmer, is, in my book, one of the best things that has ever happened to Congress. He's honest. He's brilliant.
I think I met him at your house.
Yeah,
And he's around. He's available. He is
yeah.
touchable. But you decided after you retired, you could have thrown your hat in that ring.
I was right on the edge of going when Scoop died. Everybody was running for his Senate seat. And I was that close to saying, I'm going to do it. And Jan said, Hugh, you just retired.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, I didn't do it. And I've been busy doing other things.
Oh, yeah. I can't say that was. I don't know. There's.
Let me tell you one of the main reasons. I wanted to be a congressman from the age of 10.
That's what I say.
From the age of 10.
Yeah.
And one of the main things that I was going to do if I ever became a congressman, I was going to sponsor a bill and ram it down everybody's throat. You will not get 1 penny for highway, street, freeway, whatever.
Infrastructure?
No, roads.
Okay.
Not a penny. Unless you put a bicycle path with it.
Really?
Yeah.
That was ahead of its time. Now look what they're doing.
Yeah. The air would be cleaner. We would use a lot less petroleum products. If we had a bike path here, I would never take my car out of the driveway to go into Key Center. I'd ride a bike. It's a 6.5 mile round trip.
Right.
Well, actually 12.5 miles round trip. But that's something that you can handle. And you're not polluting the atmosphere. And you're getting your body in reasonably decent shape, which I am not now.
Me neither.
Because I don't do any exercise worth speaking of.
So what do you think of the next thing? Who's going to grab you and want to get you involved with their next project? I mean, everyone would like to have you. Is there anything coming up that
I don't know that that's true. I'm in a lot of stuff, and so people see me all the time and they think this is a big deal. I think of myself as a citizen who's interested. I don't think I'm that big a deal. Whatever I can do to help our community, and by community I'm talking about the world, this is where it starts. It starts right here at the Key Peninsula, and it goes throughout the world. If we had, this community is astounding. If someone has a problem, let's say their house burned down, the entire community, I've never heard of you before, I don't know who you are, but you have a problem, and we're going to have a big spaghetti dinner for you. We're going to do this for you. We'll rebuild the whatever. This community is there. We don't let our people go down the tube. And the people who might go down the tube don't even ask for help. It's just there. This community is unbelievable.
It really is.
It is. It's incredible.
It's becoming, I'm fairly new to the community, coming from Seattle and from Gig Harbor, and known Vicki, 5-6 years now. But it just keeps growing to me. I keep seeing these amazing things and acts of kindness and caring and
yeah. I remember some years ago, to be exact, it was November the 3rd of 1983.
Jeez. Okay.
We were having dinner at some friend's house, and they're both dead now. Good friends. Great photographer. And I carried a pager, and the pager said, we have a multi-vehicle, multi-casualty. And I said, I'm going.
On the highway here?
Yeah, on the highway. And Jan said, you don't have to go. I said, yes, I do. That's why I wear the pager. This is about 11:30 at night. What it was, one of our Peninsula High School football players suffered a mild concussion. His girlfriend was driving his car, and she's a very competent driver. And some other kid coming in the opposite direction, full of mushrooms, out of his mind, sideswiped him and sent him up into the embankment. So I arrive on the scene before anybody else does because I was closer than anyone. And as I'm reaching in the back of my car to get my bunker gear, I hear a squeak, crash, and another car, also on mushrooms, plowed into the one that was sitting in the drive and sent that car to me and almost took my leg off.
Oh, is that right?
Okay. And long story short, the kids, the firefighters arrived, and they put me in an ambulance, and I remember hoisting myself up to see. Oh, I forgot a frog in my throat.
Take a drink of coffee or get you some water.
I hoisted myself up to see what my leg looked like. It was in a cardboard splint,
Oh.
and it looked like a box full of tomato soup with pieces of potato floating in it.
It was that bad.
It was that bad. We get to the hospital, and Dr. Michael Morrell, I'll never forget him. He
And where was the hospital then?
this TG
Oh, TG.
in Tacoma.
Sure.
Because we had no hospital out
No, I
here.
didn't think so.
Anyway, the kids rolled me in on the. Are we dead?
Nope, we're good.
Okay, they roll me in on the gurney, and as a chorus, they say, "Doctor, this is not a Friday night drunk. This is one of our fire commissioners who's also a firefighter, a volunteer firefighter." Okay, because he had dealt just previous to that with a drunken motorcycle rider who bashed himself up. Anyway, and he had had a bad marriage to a woman who was an addict and all that stuff. He's anti and addict. And I remember him leaning over me and saying, "What do you do for a living?" I said, "I'm retired." "Well, what are you retired from?" "C.I.A. "I'm serious." And the other two firefighters said, "So is he, sir." And he said, "Well, I understand you're an EMT. What do you know? Do you know what a comminuted fracture is?" I said, "No, I don't." And he described my leg. He said, "Despite that, I'm going to try to save your leg." Okay? And I will never forget this. I got hit with a burst of pain. And I said, "BS, you're going to save my leg," and I passed out. And the following morning, I woke up with 26 pounds of steel sticking out of my leg.
Is that so?
He knit together all those little pieces of bone with steel rods, and they fused. And you see, I walk.
I don't even see you limping.
Yeah, I don't even limp. No. He's a brilliant doctor. But the day came, they spoiled me. If people wanted to visit me at 4 o'clock in the morning, they came and they let them come in, okay? And one day, the nurses, they had to change the dressing 3 times a day, and it took a half hour each time because you're worried about infection.
Yeah, totally.
And it took 2 nurses. And one day, there was some kind of an emergency, and one of the nurses said, "I'm sorry, Mr. McMillan, I've got an emergency. I have to leave." And the other nurse was a young one, and she said, "Oh, I don't know what to do, Mr. McMillan." I said, "I do. Give me the scissors." "But Dr. Morrell doesn't own this leg. This is my leg. Give me the scissors." So I start to remove the dressing, and we go through it. Well, she ratted on me. And the next time she came in, she was alone again, and we're going to change the dressing. And I see somebody peeking around the door. The doc, okay, he's watching. And after we've changed it, he comes in and says, "What does your wife do?" I said, "What do you mean, what does my wife do?" She breathes. "Don't be a smartass," okay? We had a different relationship. Long story short, he said, "Has she had any first aid training?" I said, "Yeah, some." And then he turned to the young nurse and said, when Mrs. McMillan comes in, I want you to show her how to change these dressings. I want him out of here. And, I could talk about this for an hour, my relationship with Morrell. We became fast friends, by the way. The day came, Jan was shown what to do, and they loaded me in a wheelchair, despite my insistence that I could do it myself. No, you can't.
Right.
And as I'm being wheeled out, the doc says to Jan, he didn't know, my hearing in those days was very good. He said, you're going to have a morale problem on your hands here, Mrs. McMillan. And she said, why is that? Well, I know him. He's a people person, and we've spoiled him. We let him have guests anytime he wants. People will visit him in the hospital, but they won't visit him at home. You're going to have a morale problem.
Yeah.
And I will never forget Jan's expression, absolute stone cold. We'll see, doctor.
Is that right?
For 100 days, I was with my leg up in the air and all that. It was not terribly comfortable. For 100 days, one day only, nobody came.
That's something.
This is this community.
That is really something.
As a matter of fact, while I'm laying in bed with my leg up full of iron, they said, you've been elected president of the Keeping This Alliance Club. I said, sure I have. No way I'm not doing it. And they said, well, you've been elected. And I said, I tell you what, because I knew that Jim Lettieri, who had been a secretary in California, said, I will never, ever do a secretary job again, ever. So I knew he wasn't going to do it. And I said, get Lettieri to be my secretary and I'll be your president, okay? Well, what happened? I get a phone call from Lettieri. Are we on the air?
Yeah, we're still going, but we got a couple more minutes.
Well, Lettieri called and ushered a naughty word, okay, and said, okay, I'll be your secretary, but you're going to be my secretary when I'm president. I said, I have no problem with that.
Is
Okay.
that right? That's
Yeah.
You got elected while your leg was up in the air.
Yeah.
In traction, basically.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's this community. It wasn't that they needed me or wanted me to be president. It's that they wanted to let me know, get out of bed.
Yeah. Yeah. And it did.
Yeah.